Hello, it's Miss Bridgewater here, and I'm going to read to you part 5 of The Last Wild. It's a woman with ruddy cheeks, splattered with mud and engine grease, blonde hair tied up in a scarf wrapped round her head. She takes a wedge of smouldering cigar out of her mouth, chucks it on the ground, and squashes it into the stubble with her heel. Then she jabs her finger at me. "What are you looking at me like that for, you little man? I was going to come back and get you as well. Your young lady friend was very firm on that point." She flicks a bit of ash off her shoulder, pointing at the silent machine behind her, oily smoke still trailing into the sky from its exhausts. Or at least that was my plan till this flaming machine just cut out. Still, nothing that can't be fixed, I'm sure. I think of the mouse wriggling about in the machine's hot pipes. "I do not like this woman or her smell wildness," growls Wolf Cub. The woman folds her arms, rocking back on her heels, looking us up and down. And then a toothy smile cracks across her face, and she stretches her arms out wide, as if to hug us all. "No need to look at me like that, my lad. I'm going to help you, you daft thing. Already helped your friend Polly. Found her down by the river, I did, and in a terrible state she was. You must be Kester," she says, and there's a strange flicker across her face for a second. But then she's all smiles again, bending down to face us dead on. "You can call me Ma if you like." I can't call her anything, but I nod and glance towards the dead machine, thinking of the others inside. "Fair enough. You need help, I hear, and you've come to the right place for it. I'm no friend to colours." She twists to look at the wolf cub, hands on her thighs. "But first, I've just got to check one thing, if you don't mind." Before the cub can do anything, she strides forward and, straddling him from behind, grabs his head tight between her legs so he can't snap at her. He wriggles, but she's got him tight. With her other hand, she whips a silvery pencil torch out of her back pocket, which she shines right in his eyes. Ignoring his yelps, she calmly shines the torch all over one rolling eye, and then the other, before releasing him onto the ground with a thump. "You'll do," she says. He shakes his coat, his fur sticking out in spikes and waves like he's electrifying himself against her. "I only submit because you are the wildness, otherwise I would take out her throat." The woman smiles at me. "Oh, I don't mind his bark. Once upon a time I'd have shot him myself, just like that." She mimes swinging an invisible gun over the crook of her arm, raising it to her shoulder, aiming it right at the cub, and then firing an imaginary trigger. His growl turns to more of a whimper, but he doesn't move. She swings the invisible gun round at the pigeons on the ground, still squinting. They freeze where they stand. Ma seizes her moment, and, before they can react, she is in the middle of them, quickly shining her torch into their eyes, one by one, like an expert, like Dad would have done. Not bad at all," she says. "Fat, healthy-looking bird you've got there, my lad." "Not a bad-looking fat bird yourself," said the white pigeon quietly. "You can't be too careful," Ma explains, stuffing her torch back into her pocket. "I lost everything to that stinking plague. My best beasts, prize herds, these crops I had to let rot. Everything." She presses a small black fob in her hand. With a clunk and a hum, the whole back wall of the combi larbister folds down into a ramp. "Right, you'd better get in there with the rest of them before the blasted colour sees us." While Ma bashes and hammers on the outside of the machine, fixing the broken cable, we crowd around inside the metal cave. Straight away, the stag rushes forward out of the darkness, and the general is suddenly on my shoulder, the pigeons crowding round all of us and getting in the way and flapping in my face, so I have to push them away. I'm looking for someone else. It's big in here and smells stale. By the cracks of light, I can see the cave is full of smaller machines, jagged shadows and curves, straining at the chains holding them to the sides. And, sitting right underneath one of them, her foot resting on a pile of old sacks, it's Polly. She gives me a big smile. "I told you there were others who could help," she says. "That woman found us. She put me on the back of the stag, and I've told her everything, and she's on our side, kidnapper, and—" I'm about to go over to her when there's a loud rattling noise from the corner, and the pigeons explode upwards crazily. At first, I think it's just the combi larbister restarting. Ma must have fixed whatever the mouse did, because, with a loud roar from beneath our feet, the machine is suddenly lurching off over the field again. But the rattling continues, growing louder, pushing against metal, trying to get in, met by a low, steady growl from the wolf cub. And then, with a plop, a small, ginger, furry ball explodes out of a chute in a cloud of dust and rolls across the floor, spluttering. The mouse gets to her feet and does a massive sneeze, and then, as we all stare, she puts one paw out and rotates her whole body around it, first in one direction, then the other. and then the other paw, spinning twice around again. Next, she touches her tail with her nose. Finally, she rolls onto her back and spins around, her tiny feet waving in the air. She wriggles back onto her front and shakes her whiskers. No one says anything. I take a photo, and the flash in the dark makes everyone jump, blinking. Sorry, I mutter, and the mouse looks at us all in surprise. You got a problem or something? No, just wondering what that was meant to be, I say. That, my two-legged friend, was a special harvest mouse dance of welcome. I've never seen a mouse dance before, growls the wolf cub. Well, you ain't seen nothing yet in that case, my good friends from the north. As a matter of fact, we harvest mice have over 46,000 different dances. We've got the corn is coming dance, we've got the corn has arrived dance, we've got the corn is really something now, you should check it out dance, we've got the corn is kind of on the turn now, so hurry up dance, we've got the... All right, I think we get the idea. She stops, looking hurt, so I held out my palm, and she hurries in to hit, her claws prickling my skin. I guess I should say thanks, Mouse, I said. I think you saved our lives. She bristles. Harvest mouse, if you don't mind, not any old mouse. I can see the orbs of her jet-black eyes glistening, her muzzle no bigger than a pencil tip. Get my name right, and we'll get on just fine. Get it wrong, and I'm afraid I will answer to no one for my actions. Isn't that right? She looks around, behind her, and stops mid-sentence, as if she was expecting to see something there. Oh, I forgot again, she said, subdued. They all went, you see, the rest of my nest. Was it the berry eye? I ask. Harvest mouse is outraged again. She knits my finger. Do you mind? Certainly not, thanks very much. It never touched us, not our little nest. Then she is the least loud she has ever been since I met her. But the problem was, you see, it took away what we were going to eat. No bee nectar, no fruit, no grubs, and then they even took the crops away. As she talks, her tail flicks constantly against my fingers. It feels surprisingly strong. I'm trying to make sense of what she's saying. So, the rest of your nest, they starved because of the berry eye? Got it in one, sunshine. You might call it a plague. But to us, it was a famine, she says. I've got no one left, so I was sort of hoping that... Her voice trails off as she sees the wolf cub watching her, his brow creased with suspicion, the stag keeping a stern silence behind him. She's too small to be any trouble, coo the grey pigeons from the corner, and she could be of use. It's decided then. Yes, Mouse, you can come with us, in case there are other combi-larbisters we need your help with. Ta very muchly, my old love, don't mind if I do. Where are you lot off to, anyhow? As I tell her our story, her little eyes light up. Then, wrapping her tail round my finger, she swings off like an acrobat and twists and tumbles through the air, landing perfectly on the corner of a big old plough gathering dust in the corner. Special flying dance of acceptance on a dangerous journey, she cheeps. The wolf cub has gone very quiet since the mouse arrived. I stretch out to stroke him when there's a jolt and a sound like the combi-larbister is turning, stopping and turning again before finally juddering to a stop. With a yell of "Freedom dance!" the harvest mouse slides over the floor, wriggling her tail, and both Polly and the wolf cub are thrown on top of me. As we disentangle ourselves, the ramp yawns open, and the first thing I see is the silhouette of Ma standing in the doorway. The very end of the sunlight streams past her as she beckons us to come out. I can't believe what I'm hearing at first. Sounds that I haven't heard for so long. The noise of other people, lots and lots of them, all chattering and shouting and arguing and running and walking. The noise of engines roaring. Standing on the edge of the ramp, my hand on the wolf cub's head as my eyes adjust to the light, I think for a moment that we have arrived in the city already. But not the city we're looking for. Not a city of skyscrapers, but one of metal barns and corrugated roofs. This huge square in front of us, filled with tractors and trailers. The barn rooftops stretch out as far as we can see, glinting in the evening light. There are stacks of tyres and oil drums and plastic sacks piled high into the sky, and enough machinery, arms, diggers, claws, ploughs, sprays, to fill a whole scrapyard. Welcome to Old Burn Farm, my beauties, says Ma with a big smile. I can see we're in a farm all right, but not any old farm. Polly takes the words out of my mouth. It's the biggest farm in the world, she whispers.